Happy week 4, everybody. Um, a few things that stood out to me after this week's reading um, were the invention of the phone. I read that Alexander Graham Bell was not the first to invent it, but the first to capitalize on it. I remember doing a report on him when I was probably elementary school, and either I didn't research well enough or I just did not retain the information. But it was interesting to me to relearn that he, he had an invention for the telephone, and he is credited for it, and I know he did a lot of hard work in getting it to be what it was. The version that we actually use today is more closely resembling that of the one Thomas Edison had created. Um, Also, in my mind, for some reason, I thought these two were lifetimes apart, and they are not actually. I mean, they were in the same era. Go ask Daddy for cereal. Um, Another thing that kind of stood out to me was why cities like New York are built the way that they're built. Uh, Obviously, they're close to ports, and as new inventions were being created in electricity and factories and all of those things, it was easiest to build next to those ports. And then for the immigration, those people coming for work needed to stay where the work was. I've never been to New York or any really big city like that, and so I've never experienced it for myself. But anything that we see, um, or anything that I've seen, it just seems like it's very busy, very crowded. Obviously, lots of skyscrapers that we've seen in photos and movies and such. Um, but it makes a lot of sense. They built the city for convenience at the time, and instead of building out, they built up. So it was kind of interesting to kind of sit back and read as to why they did it that way. And it makes a lot of sense. And then the last thing that really stood out to me, and I think this is one that I feel every day now, even still, is Montgomery Ward and Sears catalogs and how that kind of changed the lifestyle for the people in the time. They started sending out these catalogs because they could phone in orders or mail in orders and then have it mailed back to them because the transportation industry was getting a little more efficient for them. And then eventually they were able to phone in their orders, and then so they had to market. Um, and I really feel like that leads to, it definitely leads to overconsumption. Everybody has probably been susceptible to it a time or two. I have. But the whole marketing industry was created around these companies coming to life and wanting to always make sure that there was a sale to be made. And they helped lead what we now know as credit. So, you can go into one of these stores, or a lot of stores these days, and just open a line of credit to purchase things. And it seems like it's never ending. You're always getting an ad from somewhere. So it was interesting to see kind of how that had come about. But look forward to hearing what stood out to everybody else this week.